Welcome to Free Media. I'm Amber Duke.
And I'm Robby Soave. Well, minutes before Trump's inauguration, President Biden issued preemptive pardons for his siblings and their spouses, citing fears of politically driven investigations. This comes after mainstream media attacked President Trump for preemptive pardons that he might have issued, though he didn't. Here's a great montage by ex-user Clipkeeper. Let's watch some of that.
Have you ever heard of somebody getting a preemptive pardon who was innocent of all crime? Who's just an innocent person? Have you ever heard of that? Just somebody getting a blanket pardon and they're an innocent person?
But no, it's the president's own family. It's people that have been covering up for the president in addition to his own family.
Is there an innocent explanation for someone to seek preemptive pardons for family members? Would you do that if you knew you were innocent and just worried about outside forces?
The answer to that is going to be no. If you haven't done anything wrong, you sit there and go, what do you need a preemptive pardon for?
If he pardons people preemptively, he's essentially telling the public that these people have committed crimes.
Shout out to Clipkeeper. That was very well done, and the musical accompaniment, fantastic. Yeah, there's just like no way around this one that Joe Biden was asked about. The idea of Trump doing preemptive pardons, he didn't actually do them. And the idea of pardons for family members, and that idea was ridiculed. Again, Trump didn't actually do it. They said if Trump did that, that would be bad. Now Biden has done that exact thing. It is literally that thing, a preemptive pardon for the family. And they're taking great pains right now to process that. I mean, I watched some CNN and MSNBC yesterday. I didn't see them talk about it very much. Maybe they did talk about it. I don't know what they would have done. Probably just ignored it, but.
Yeah, some of the people who have been defending it are saying, well, it's still Trump's fault because he would weaponize the Department of Justice against Biden's family, because that totally didn't just happen to Trump for the past 4 years. But then there were actually some people who kind of had a little light bulb moment. Specifically on CNN, there were a few commentators who sort of framed it in the sense that, well, this is bad that Biden did this, but not just because it's objectively bad, but because he gave more cover to Donald Trump to then do the January 6th pardons, or if he ever wanted to pardon a family member, now he has the precedent from Joe Biden. So it's either good because Trump is bad, or it's bad because Trump is bad.
I mean, I think this precedent being broken is bad, and we are now getting to a place where, honestly, not that this is something that can be done, but that the pardon power might actually have to be, like, that it would be a good thing to be curtailed. I've been always very in favor of the pardon power because, look, there are some individuals, your Julian Assange type people, not that he was under the purview of U.S. authorities, but someone in that situation.
Ross Ulbricht.
Ross Ulbricht is someone exactly in that situation. We're very much hoping, we libertarians, that Donald Trump fulfills a apparent campaign promise to the Libertarian Party that they would free him. If you had more veto points on the more congressional scrutiny or legal scrutiny or something where somebody else gets to say this pardon doesn't get to go forward, it would make it extraordinarily more difficult to pardon people in the Ross Ulbricht situation, and I don't want that. So I think that would be bad. However, if presidents now, like each president is going to expand what pardons get used for and just like pardon their entire family or their entire cabinet or everyone, who showed up to work on that day, it's just going to become totally ridiculous. I mean, then it will just be, there will be a habit of doing that, which Joe Biden is almost entirely responsible for causing to happen with this unprecedented wave of pardons for beginning with Hunter and now ending with other almost random family members.
And he also said multiple times throughout his tenure that he wasn't going to pardon any of his family. And then towards the last couple of months, when it became clear that he was done with his political career, suddenly it was, well, I haven't really given thought to it, but it's not a hard no. And then he ended up doing it in the 11th hour. And I think if you're going to take the complaint that they were making against the hypothetical Trump pardons, it's why would you do that if you were innocent? If you were innocent, then you don't have anything to worry about. Now, I don't necessarily buy that argument.
I was going to say that too. I actually don't agree with that.
Because you're still subject to a costly and invasive investigation.
Right, and that's the whole Patriot Act rationale. Oh, you have nothing to fear. If you have nothing to hide, why do you care if we're listening in on your conversations? Yeah. And sometimes there are political witch hunts committed by either side. So being innocent doesn't mean you will not be subject to a criminal investigation where even at the end of it, they find out, okay, you didn't commit any crimes, but did you somehow perjure yourself or commit obstruction of justice in the process? That, from Martha Stewart to whoever down the line
and that's essentially what happened to Trump in the classified documents case, or Michael Flynn, for example, prior to the first administration.
Is an example of that, yes.
They caught him in some sort of misremembering moment. And
even like an idiot, he didn't talk to an attorney who says, never answer questions from these people.
Talk to an attorney.
Hello, libertarian over here. Do not just willingly submit to police inquiries and start answering questions at random.
But what I will say is on the allegations that the Biden family was involved in these corrupt foreign business practices, that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden was the bag man for then Vice President Joe Biden. There was involvement from his brother James in some of the foreign business dealings. And the fact that the other siblings were included, I think, is either to maybe provide cover to James to an extent, or it's because maybe they had some involvement that didn't come out during the House Oversight Committee's investigations.
Yeah, look, I certainly don't think members of the Biden family or the Trump family or anyone else should be subject to unfair or meritless investigations. I don't have enough information to assert that there's no legitimate basis to probe either Biden's or Trump's influence or business practices. That would be it's both ridiculous to say we absolutely know there's nothing to that and looking into it would always be wrong, or to say that, yes, they should be subjected to constant scrutiny until some law enforcement body can come up with some reason to charge them, as they arguably did to Hunter with the gun charge, which I thought was rather trivial, not so much some of the other stuff. We don't want to get to that point, and I think it would be better for the Trump administration to be forward-looking rather than, Biden is as defeated as he'll ever be and be score-settling, because then that does raise the possibility of them doing that to you if there's a future administration, but maybe Trump people would say, well, they're going to do that anyway.
Yeah, probably. And also, I think with the Biden family in particular, one of the things that has always been a sticking point for me is the fact that in the Hunter Biden investigation, you had those IRS whistleblowers come out and say, we actually weren't allowed to investigate properly because our superiors were concerned that the threads we were tugging on could potentially lead to the president. And if he was indeed selling his influence and selling out the American people in the process so that his family could make tens of millions of dollars from foreign interests, then he should be held accountable for that. I think it is completely reasonable to expect an investigation of that, a real investigation, not like a fake House investigation or a fake IRS investigation.
Right, because Democrats would say, well, they did look at the House tried, and they did not come up with a lot. Honestly, the media did a better job of uncovering, and they found the attempted bribing of the Italian.
Comer isn't like the foremost authority on like how to run a good
but when they found
investigation.
It was the media that uncovered that he had tried to have a conversation with the Italian ambassador about opening something there, and I'm like, Comer didn't even find that? What are they doing?
You have random sleuths on X who have done a better job than James Comer. So I think a real investigation is warranted. That's not to say, though, that you follow Joe Biden into the grave and. But it's over now. So, but the one drawback that these people have when they accept these pardons, because Adam Kinzinger, who was offered one from the president, hasn't decided if he's going to take one yet, and that's because if you are pardoned, you can no longer take the fifth if you have to, if you're called to come and testify. So you might have to go in and potentially rat out other people involved in your scheme that did not receive the pardon.
Well, interestingly enough, I think there is some legitimate legal debate over whether you can reject a pardon if it has been given to you. I saw an actually interesting interview with Jamie Raskin yesterday on CNN or MSNBC when they were, and he was asked, are you going to accept this pardon? And it was a really genuine moment. He's like, I need to consult an attorney. I'm not sure if I cannot reject it. I don't know if it's like an executive order where it just exists now that it's been issued. I don't know.
What some people were saying was that you can choose to accept it at any time, basically, which I found really interesting as well. One of the other
It's like an immunity idol in Survivor.
That's what I'm curious about. But that you can't read after you can't use after the votes, right? So it's like
there was that one season that had the super idol, and that broke the game.
But can you use the pardon after you get convicted? Like, I got this in my pocket. It's over now.
Well, that's like the way the justice system works, and I can't believe we're talking about this. In Game of Thrones, a quintessential flaw, like Tyrion is on trial for falsely murdering the king. And after it's clear, like right before the verdict is read, it's clear he's going to be convicted. He says, wait, I want a trial by combat now. It's like, so you can take your chance on a trial, and then if it goes bad, then you ask for a trial by combat. I don't know about that, George R.R. Martin. All right, we've gotten a little bit askance from where we started. Thank you so much for watching Free Media this week. It's our pleasure, as always. Make sure to subscribe to our new channel, which is linked below. Hit that like button, share this, tell your friends about our show. We really appreciate it, and we'll be back next week.